Hi, I'm Bonnie McDonald Dixon, a health advocate, and today I'm sharing the stage with Ann Crawford, a career advocate. And we love to share with you how you can gain a wonderful career, how to go about that. And each time we share with each other, we talk about a different topic. And one of the topics that came up this week about careers and jobs and work is called career interrupted. And it can happen to anyone. In fact, plan on it. If you're starting your career, plan on it. Don't be shocked. Don't be surprised. Plan that your career at some point may be interrupted. And as we do our talk, you'll find out some of those reasons that people's careers are interrupted. So, with that, I want to share about Anne a little bit. And we're going to go to our slide deck here. Let's see here. There we go. And our whole topic for the whole year is what's your plan B for 2023? And that's important because if you plan to go somewhere, like you say you plan to go across the US, you want to have a map and a guidebook to know what you're doing. This is what we're helping you with in 2023. Now, Anne, I just love and adore her. She's been a career transition coach for 17 plus years. She's sharing a highly effective process that supports individuals in creating their career and personal life that they've always wanted. And she specializes in military personnel returning to civilian life. Thank you, Anne, for that. And myself, I've had a portfolio career, a lifelong health advocate, a co host for this TV show, Storyvan TV. How I wrote a book, How to Get a Job You Love, and I was in the book Change One Belief. My story was the perfect job. I'm also a horse and coffee lover, and I currently help people live long and well with wellness solutions designed to redefine the future of your human potential. So, career interrupted, and we had some great conversation about that. Would you share with us some of these common things that have happened to people that you've known?
Oh, the raising the children is a good one because let's start with that. I know so many people that went to school, they became doctors, and I just said, just wait for it. And they said, wait for what? And I'm that pull to be home with the children. And you think after getting a doctorate in something, I would never stay home. But the pull is so great that after 4 or 5 years in their career, they decide to take that break. I've seen it numerous times, whether it's the father or the mother, but most of the time it's the mother that really has the pull. So what do you do after you've been educated so highly and amongst your career that you need to build constantly? We're going to talk about that, and some of the other things are health issues. Many people, we're all a waiting time bomb, to be honest with you. We just don't know when it's going to hit. And sometimes it hits with accidents where I've seen people that are, in the middle of their careers and they can no longer work. Granted, they go on disability, but their mind is still active and everything else, and they want to get back into the swing of things, but they can't do physically. And I've seen this with fire and police and professional athletes and even the military, where they can no longer do what they used to do. So how do you deal with that and go back to into something that's different? It's your parents. This is a huge issue with people who are in the 50s to 60-year range, and they're starting to have to take care of their parents. How do they balance the I have to stay home with mom because she has Alzheimer's now. I can't afford a full time nurse, so I'm doing it. So, Bonnie and I are going to talk to you about how you can really think about all the things that you're doing during these interruptions that can move you forward and back into the workplace at the time. What are your thoughts, Bonnie?
Well, what hit me was illness within my family. My former partner, he literally fell paralyzed in
Mm,
the height of his career when he was earning the most. And it was like a door shut. No more income was coming in. Now, we're going to talk about this later of what happens when that happens. What are some of the options that you have? Because again, I've heard a statistic and I should have put it up here, but you're more likely to be disabled than you are to die. And
Yes.
so we want to not morbidly plan for it, but proactively plan for it. Like if I were to lose my job, that's another one, job loss. That's a career interrupted. So many of us had no idea that a company would lay off thousands at once.
Right.
And there you are with a shocked look on your face. We are here today to share with you, don't be shocked, be prepared.
Right.
And that is our message today. And there's many other reasons that may happen for a career interrupted. These are some of the major ones that happen to many people. Now, here's the part that I know Anne is just amazing with, but resilience. And so, how are we resilient in these times that, what do we have? Your soft skills, hard skills, expertise, transferable skills, our ability to adapt, how to be quick on your feet and open to possibilities. So, Anne, I'm going to make you share with you because I love to hear what you have to say because you're working with a particular group of people that have been trained one way, but then they
Hmm.
are suddenly thrown into an atmosphere, a place that does not compute for them. So,
Right.
how do they become resilient?
So I asked my clients. I know you're talking about the military, but I'm going to give you an example of a woman executive who, in the height of her career, she was probably in her 50s. Her mother became down with Alzheimer's, and there was no one to take care of mom except for her. Her brothers lived too far away, and they weren't as nurturing or caring. First, she went through depression, then she went through shock. And then, as we were talking, because she had been doing this for several months now, I said, "Let's talk about your day, and I want each one of you to think about your day when you're out of your working environment and how catastrophically you miss your work and you're not using the same skill sets." So what she found was that during the day, as an executive, she had to be very organized. She organized meetings, results, goal driven things. She was actually doing the same things with her mom, making doctor's appointments, keeping her therapy up, getting her exercise. Each day was blocked off with goals that excelled her mother into healing the best that she could at the moment. But she ended up having so many transferable skills during this time, which I told her, if you're going to leave work or you have to leave work, these are the things you need to put down. Details, attention to details. Do you know how hard it is to keep track of what the doctors say and understand what they're telling you when it comes to a parent that's ill? I said, you're doing your research every single day. Write all of that down. I said, I know, Bonnie, that you've been through different things also. So if you could give them also a story about how even you, who is a career woman, is handling certain similar situations right now.
Well, I guess I have to go in my past that I was working a career I just loved,
Yeah.
natural products industry. My former partner fell paralyzed. Everything stopped. And I literally did release everything. And in doing so, how to be resilient is live in the now.
Yeah.
You can't, it's very difficult if you're saying, oh, I wish I was over here doing this. I wish, I wish, I wish. I want, I want, I want. Look at the situation, stay calm, carry on, and say, what can I do today?
Right.
And for some people, say they're working business at home and they're caregiving their children and or parent or both at the same time, which does happen.
Mm-hmm.
I would say give yourself 30 minutes if you have to, morning and evening, or an hour once a day. And then you close the door and say, Mommy's not available, or, you know, to whoever, carve out a niche of time for yourself. Why to do this? So that you actually don't go crazy and you're creating this bubble space for yourself to be very focused. A person can make a lot of money in 1 hour a day if they're very focused. Just
Right.
think about how many workers there are that are working all day long and getting nothing done.
Right.
Whereas if they concentrated it, it's a real powerhouse work. And then they can release so that they feel good about what they're doing. So, but be in the now, because if someone needs you and you're over here, don't be thinking about over there, because it's ripping you apart. And so I actually wrote a book while I was caretaking, 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes at night, because that's all the time I had.
Right.
And so a book was written during that time. It gave me solace, it gave me a purpose, gave me something to do. So becoming resilient is number one, putting your own oxygen mask on
That's it.
and taking the time for yourself so that you can help other people. It's not about being a victim or a martyr. That does nobody any good at all. And
Yeah.
we all do it, even at work. Oh, I work so hard.
Right.
Well, how about working smarter, not harder?
Right. Right. There you go. I love it. I love it.
There we go. Yeah. So there's a lot of ways to become resilient. You need to know you. And Ann and I talk about this, how to know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, it's figure out your own expertise of what you know.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and this is a fun one, and will probably totally relate. Write down all your skills, and you may be
Yep.
accumulating them over time and don't even realize how
Mm-hmm.
many you have. And just be open to possibilities too. For instance, one time I wanted to go somewhere, but I was still caretaking my partner. I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? Well, I reached out to my neighbor and said, would you be available for this
Right.
weekend? She said yes. What was the trade? Hey, a bottle of vodka. I can do that.
Yeah. Really. And that's
And
being resilient. Absolutely. Thinking of options for yourself.
options. Oh, that should be right up there. Resilience is options. And the same thing of options come when you have enough income coming in. So again, planning for the inevitable, knowing
Right.
that if something, the old school was, and do you remember this? 6 months expenses in an account that you can easily get to. Now we all say, oh, we could never do that. We could never do that. You can if you start saving a little bit at a time. Doesn't
Right.
have to be a paycheck. It could be a bonus that comes in. Set it aside. It could be an extra little side job you do. Set that
Mm-hmm.
money aside. Don't spend it. It could be the decision of watching a movie on TV or going out to the movies. That could save you 30 to 60 bucks right there.
Yeah.
It's
Living
the
within your budget,
yeah, yeah. So
good way to
resilience
go.
is also what's the other word? It's I'll think of it here. It's being very dedicated to yourself of saying, I if I can get this done here, it will give me peace of mind. So resilience in
Mhm.
a way is peace of mind, knowing that you did all you could do as something will inevitably come up. Now, oh, here was the savings part. What can
Yeah.
you say about this, Anne, on savings?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The people that were out of work in my employment group, some of them did do the savings thing, and some had spouses that were doing pretty well, so they didn't have to worry about working too much. But what happens to your identity if you're not working? You kind of lose your power, and this is where money and what money means to you. But some of them had to withdraw from their retirement accounts because they couldn't pay mortgages anymore. So that's a tough one, because you really don't want to touch that. But like we wrote, is cash is king. And so even if it's your coins, I save my coins, and every 6 months I go in, and that's my vacation time or
Mm-hmm,
something I used for that.
mm-hmm,
Don't be embarrassed to ask friends or family
mm-hmm.
for money, or for ways in which they can think that you could acquire money. Because this is a big thing. Do not loan money if you can't afford to ever see it again. I never forget somebody said, don't ever loan money that you can't afford to never see again. So even if it's your dear family or your child or your uncle that says you have $10,000, that's all I need. I need it so desperately to pay my rent and everything else. And you have it, but that's your emergency fund. You really have to weigh what if they can never pay it back? Now the resentment comes along. So really be careful. I think you can analyze all this stuff in your house, and like we suggested, sell clothing, go to a pawn shop and sell your records, although now they're big bucks, but things that you don't care as much about as you used to, and or jewelry that you really don't like. There are certain ways you can pop in and get another 100 here or something there and not feel bad about it. So that was a wonderful thing that Bonnie put up as far as selling little things. I'm selling strollers right now. Anybody need some baby strollers? um, but I have turned in some jewelry that I didn't like a long, long time ago when I was going through a somewhat difficult time, and that saved my butt for a month type thing. Paintings. But if you have a service, why not sell your expertise? If you are known for something like an artist, but is out of work, why not sell your artwork to in a different way? If you have a talent, like I've known some lawyers that are out of work because their firm went down or something like that. They volunteered or they sold, or not sold, but charged per hour in a different way. They sold their expertise. They used their expertise. What are your thoughts on that, Bonnie?
Oh my gosh, I love that. Selling your expertise. It's very simple nowadays. It is ridiculously simple. You actually don't have to have a website, although I recommend a website. There's something called LinkedIn, and it's free to use. You do not have to buy their paid program. You can create a profile, and anyone that needs help with that, I'm always happy to help with a LinkedIn profile.
Mm-hmm.
From there, you can offer your services, and you are talking to millions. I'm kidding you, millions of
Right.
business people. It's not, Facebook can work also. I met a woman who, and I don't know how, this was in Canada, I don't know how legal it was. She made these amazing, I think it was a South American delicacy, like a little turnover thing, and they sold
Oh,
them on
wonderful.
Facebook, and people would order them like crazy in her local area. But you could always rent a kitchen if you needed to partner with
Mm-hmm.
at a restaurant or something when their kitchen is off hours. There's so many ways to create income, and I will tell this side story just because we're here on this topic. A friend of mine, this has been many, many years ago, had four children, and he was a engineer. He lost his job. Four kids. What did he know in his personal life? He was a vegetarian and he made tofu from scratch all the time. He created a tofu company,
Yeah.
got big enough to cover the Western United States, sold, did he didn't sell it, he sold the rights to his company. He doesn't even make the tofu anymore. He had to partner because he couldn't buy truckloads of organic soybeans as a one person, but he partnered with another bigger tofu company.
There you go.
They could get the buying power. He still had his company and name, and he gets a big fat check every month. So, but
There
it
you go.
started with, I'm out of a job. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do to feed my children?
Right.
So sometimes so back on the slide before it says, be quick on your feet. If you get nothing out of this, know what you know, so that
Right.
if you need to sell that expertise, you can, and it's uh, a very valuable asset to yourself.
Right.
Yeah, and in saying that, these multiple streams of income, like some people just have, oh, I've got a job and that's going to be everything to me, and that's all
Yeah.
income
No,
is.
no, no.
That's great, okay, but investments, and that can be, there's so many investments. Just be
Right.
wise. Talk to an investment counselor. That's one way. Another
Mm-hmm.
investment is a part-time job. Why? Because you're learning skills.
Right.
You're meeting people. You're creating. There's a real interesting little quote about your the people that you know are an asset. Most people don't realize they don't know about 2,000 people,
Right.
and the more people you know, the more people you have opportunities with. You can do a home-based business, as we were sharing. Some you can just work with a company and be a representative, a face for that company. And also, this is what Anne was sharing. What do you know? And teach it. Simply
Yeah,
teach.
you're absolutely correct. And so I'm going to butt in here and tell a
Yes.
story about one of the men in my employment group. And let me tell you, he was a franchise expert. He knew how to develop them, he how to support them,
Mhm.
and not that he did the finances, but he knew everything that it went along with it. He was out of work, and what does he do? Well, on the side, he really loved baking bread. Well, somebody suggested, listen, we love your bread, and there's a farmer's market. Do you think that you could at least bake at least 20 loaves of bread? He goes, oh, that's no problem. So he and his wife teamed up and they started baking breads. Well, they became so popular that because he had that business sense from the franchising, he knew how to manipulate different flavors and what products are um, liked the most,
Anne
what's the
might
most
be on a
appealing. Yeah.
little burp
So
here. She'll probably be back here
that's
momentarily,
how
and she'll
he
finish the rest of the story. The bottom line. Oh, here she comes. Here you are, Anne.
oh, I was just like, oh, maybe I went off. But so he built the business before you knew it. Now he still was unemployed, but he was so busy with his bread baking thing that he went back to corporate in a different way. But he actually made so much money with his bread that he sold that business. And he used everything that he knew in franchising to develop it, run it, get the right people, because he had all these contacts. And there it went. I don't know how it is now or what it's called. And then after corporate, when he was so burnt out by it, he just deeply regretted going back to corporate life. But we all take the mindset, I need the money, I need to be stable, and this is what I want to do before I retire. He actually quit corporate after being in there for 3 years and now is running a restaurant in New Hampshire because that he knows how to do it and implements fantastic different I believe it's not bread necessarily anymore, but it's different kinds of food. And he's highly successful. So that's where what you know comes in really handy with the stream of other incomes. So if you do jewelry making on the side, baking breads, if you know how to train horses, you can give horseback riding lessons and build up your support system while you're out of work. But like we talked before, write down every single task that you have been doing so that when it comes to writing that resume up and they're going to say, and they always do, what did you do in that gap of employment? You got a wide list and it shows that you're highly engaged in learning and being proactive for yourself. So that's one example.
Wow, that is a beautiful way to say it. Is you're being engaged, because I had to do that and say, well, what were you doing in that time? Well, it's really interesting when women tend to not value what we do.
Right.
And the reality check is we do a lot. And back to your whole premise of what you do, what do you know, and can you teach it?
Right.
So, can you sew? Great. Could you teach sewing? Valuable.
Big time valuable.
Big time. And the internet is the blessing in disguise, because we can have a YouTube channel for free and we can show little demonstrations. Someone can video you while you're sewing. And I must tell you, video is king. So, actually, this is a fun thing to do for yourself, is to video yourself doing something that you love to do and post it,
Right.
because pretty soon people are coming to you for that expertive.
You
I
got
look
that
it up
right.
all the time myself.
Right. I
So
know
the
a
pro,
photographer friend that's doing that now. He has
yeah.
a big business, but he has less than 1 minute clips on street photography or lighting or something that he does. And that's creating multiple income levels. So when he
Mhm.
doesn't have any photo jobs, it's he's constantly on the internet. It's
Right.
great.
I want to say something about that. So we have most people, they work all day. Some people work all night, but in those
Mhm.
off hours, we have time on our hands. And it might be an hour, it might be two, it might be three. What are you doing in those hours? Are you watching TV? Are you exercising? Are you learning a new skill? The people who love life, I think, the most are always learning something new.
Right.
And they're always saying, what's next? And how can I engage in all those skills? Or how can I help someone? Volunteering is a skill
Yes.
of helping others. And again, creating, oh, this was the quote I wanted: your net work is your net worth.
Very good.
So that's a really good one, of knowing
I
all
love
these
it.
people give you opportunities. And this particular slide's on problem solving skills. So, what are you learning? You know,
Right.
that you could be used for future employment. So, you could think of it that way. What
Hmm.
skill am I investing in myself
Right.
in case I need this, or that you choose to use it? And what are you learning about yourself? Some people learn, I learned a hard way. I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Yeah.
Don't all little girls? I actually volunteered for a veterinary clinic, and I was 19, and I was shocked out of my life. I was like, what? I don't like doing this. Blah. I don't like blood. I don't like guts.
Yeah.
I don't like the drama of it.
Right.
I had no idea that veterinarians have a very high suicide rate because of all the intensity and drama. It's very high suicide rate. So, but I just found out I didn't like it, and I changed course, thank heavens. And
Hmm.
the other thing is, what are your boundaries? And I think you'd be a good person to talk about boundaries in all
Well,
of this.
um, boundaries are your personal space here, and what are you going to put up with, and what are you not going to put up with? And if it's like taking care of a parent or something, if they become abusive, your heart says, I want to still take care of them because I'm the child, but your boundaries say, I've had enough and I have to get some professional help in here.
Yeah.
I know so many people that their friends say, well, you're out of work, can you pick Susie up now, or can you walk my dog, or can you do this and that, and they take advantage of them, and they don't know how to say I'm sorry. And their friends say to them, well, what else are you going to be doing? You're free, so why not help me? This is where some forms of boundaries must be observed, and you must value your time and energy. And it just is, it's a hard journey. It's boundaries with time, with money, and other aspects of emotions. I can't stress this enough, is think positively all the time. Every day you're learning something, you're going through this unexpected journey. Like Bonnie said, learn and grow, but do it your way, and don't let people take advantage of you in certain ways. Always, it's okay to say no, and it's okay to say, I'm taking the day off. You have to know your boundaries. What are your ideas on boundaries? Because there's so many different kinds,
Mhm.
Bonnie.
Yes, I had to learn that when I was caretaking my former partner, because he wanted nonstop, constant attention.
Mm,
And wow, was that ever hard? And
yeah.
when I would say no, it would get ugly. But you have to stand up for yourself. I even
Yeah.
felt it the other day. It was kind of cute. My dear father is 92, and he fell. And he said to me when I called him, nobody called me today. And so what I said to him was, Dad, call someone, call
Yeah.
them. And so it's kind of like reversing it back. If someone's demanding something of you, you can ask back
Right.
something as well. It doesn't always have to be a one-wayer. And so this whole thing with, the career interrupted, things are going to be hitting you smack, 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 from bill paying to
Mhm.
negotiating with your partner if they're going to be carrying the load to, reaching out for a new job or deciding on a new career. There's a lot of decisions, and to be kind to yourself and good to
Right.
yourself and aware of yourself,
Yeah.
what's feeling good or not feeling good. I've kind of made a decision. I don't want to do it unless it's kind of fun and I'm
Right.
enjoying myself. And earlier in my life, it's like, oh, well, go, 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 go. And
Right.
I let that go when I would let the US Postal Service go.
But I think you nailed it. And the key word is being aware. And it sometimes takes a long time for us humans to figure out what we're truly aware of. And it's okay to stand up for ourselves.
Right,
So,
right.
what you do and don't need in the current situation. So,
Right. So here's a little thought process for us to share. So if this job career change,
mm,
or in the opposite of not doing it, you can still be planning ahead.
right,
If you choose to do something, what are the benefits, the pros and cons? You
right,
know, one of my sisters, it was a really tough situation at her work, and they offered her a job at another facility because she was having troubles, real troubles with a crazed employee in her place. They
hmm,
said, we'd like you to go to this other facility, and she said, no, I will not.
yeah, good,
What did it cost her? It cost her to lose a driving stipend because she used to partner with her husband going to work. Then it cost her extra time each day, each way, and it would have cost her um, the job she liked. And she said,
right,
no, thank you. And so you've got to know the benefits of the job. What are the hours you choose to work? Did you want to do part time, full time? Are you an employee mentality? Are you a management mentality? Are you an owner mentality?
right,
What kind of income are you looking for? Some people say, oh, I just want to make a lot of money. Well, what does that mean?
yeah,
What does that mean? For the average American, statistics show 72,000, and this was a couple years ago, is a nice spot for most people to
mm,
pay most of their bills. Now, so many places in the US, the housing's gone up so high, 72,000 would be times two partners and maybe a third to
right,
cover that mortgage. But so that's back to location. So you've got all these things to think about. But if
right,
you wrote them down, what you really, really want, you can actually head in that direction.
right.
Yeah, you can actually head in that direction. What do you think, Anne?
I think it's perfect. I'm working with somebody who was in the pharmaceutical field. He was like pharmacist, but more in development of it. He got so burnt out, emotionally depressed by everything that's going on that we never hear about, and so he just left it, and for his own mental health. And he finally admitted last week that he just wants a part-time job. He can't handle a 40-hour job. I said, this is awesome. And now we're just deciding, what does that look like? And I think it, believe it or not, it might be retail,
Hmm.
not clothing, but books and stuff, because he understands how to run bookstores or stores and stuff. It's the same as the departments that he was in, and he likes that. The income is important, but it's not the leading form of what he wants. His leading nurturing thing that he really needs is part-time, so he's also dealing with parents also, so he wants the flexibility to be able to go see his parents and figure out what's going on with there. Now location is possibly an issue, but and he doesn't want to work on an online job. He needs the human interaction. So these are all things we discuss. What would his hours be? That can be flexible as long as it's part-time. And the benefits, he already gets them in another way, so he's okay with that. So it's like a jigsaw puzzle for everybody. Everybody has their priorities and what's important to them. But I will tell you this, don't risk your personal happiness for income level.
Mhm.
I I'm a real stickler on that. Money is not success to me. It's how you feel about your job and how you can be the richest person internally and make hardly anything. And you know what? Those people survive. They make it work. And this
Mhm.
is where that resilience comes in. Is
Mhm.
some people could never think to make just 30,000 a year. They would be embarrassed. Where some people who make 200,000 are the loneliest, most unhappiest people I have ever
Mhm.
met and would kill to have a part-time job that they absolutely loved and do without the money. So, what is it for you guys out there? You
I
know,
know.
you decide. You might be a man or a woman and need the benefits.
You
You
made me
have
smile.
children,
My
or
other little story is that I do a part-time job for fun. I
yeah.
was walking by the local coffee place, which is a First Nations run business. It said
Mhm.
help wanted. So I walked in just for the heck of it and said,
Yeah.
"So, what do you need?" And she said, "We need a bannock maker." And I said, "Oh, okay." I didn't even ask what bannock was. I kind of knew.
Yeah.
Anyway, I show up and the shift is 5 to 10 on Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
And I go in and I'm the happiest camper. I make my little latte or whatever. I get all the dough ready. I make the dough and we decorate it. And I'm in, I'm out. I've gotten my workout because you're stirring this dough. It's not a mixer dough.
Really?
And I thought, hey, I'm getting paid to have fun here and I love to bake. So there was a book years ago called How Starbucks Saved My Life. And it was an executive that ended up at Starbucks.
Yep.
He said it literally saved his life because he was so unhappy and he ended up being a happy camper, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's everybody needs something from somewhere. You learned a new trade, you met new people, you had plenty of new skills, and it matched your time restrictions that you wanted.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's awesome. That's what
Yeah,
everybody should be
totally.
doing.
Totally. Now,
Right.
working from home can be a blessing or a curse.
Yes.
And anyone here, if they want to talk about it,
Yep.
I'm the queen of that. I've done both. I've
Right.
worked for companies where I worked from home
Hmm.
and I am doing online business now. And you can overwork yourself half to death,
Absolutely.
or you can learn how to cut your own hours, but how
Hmm.
to stay flexible, how to be your own boss, which some people say, oh, I just wish I was my own boss. There's an old, I know another quote,
Yeah.
working
Another.
for yourself from being an employee is going from 8 hours to 12 hours,
Right.
7 days a week. So sometimes you can expand it. And are you making more money? It's back to what do you love to do, right? And
Right.
are you boss material for yourself? And again, I'd love to talk to anyone that's ever said, well, could I cut it as a home based business person? I love to share that kind of information. We
Right.
could go through, are you a potential person that could do that? Not
Yep.
everybody is, but the people that
No.
are, can be very lucrative and unlimited income.
Hmm.
Yeah. So here's the one. I love this one. And you want to go through that one?
Let me tell you, I'll ask for help for cleaning any day.
Me too.
It's true. But you know what? When I was going through my father's estate, when my sister and I were doing that, we I asked my sister 1,000 questions because she has a much bigger business than I do, and she could help with certain things that I didn't know about, and vice versa. I think reaching out to your friends is awesome. All these church communities and mentors, they're so necessary in life. And we have this mentality that we have to do it all ourselves, but we're all in this together. So whoever you admire, ask from it. Go to your therapist, ask a counselor, say, I've never dealt with this before emotionally. Help me, because someday when you've mastered it and you are 8 times more resilient than you started, and hopefully most people that have started to listen to us are much more resilient right now than they were at the beginning of this podcast, right?
Absolutely.
And then we'll be
Absolutely.
able to help other people, so we'll be giving it back. So master this. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Mhm.
People want to give it.
I can truly say that just from the social media. I don't know everything, but I know more than the next person.
Right.
And that's where you need to be okay with not knowing everything and knowing whatever you know is just perfect. And there's someone actually could use your help. And by helping someone, you reinforce what you know and you
Mhm.
get to put it on your list of skills. It's just really a wonderful circle that
It
can
is.
benefit you no matter what when you ask for help or you learn
Right.
something new. And
Exactly.
so we've got a plan for the career interrupted. And if not, you will have a crisis. It's not when, it's not, let's see, it's
Yeah.
not if you will, it's when you will. And just
Right.
don't be surprised. You got to plan for it and
Right.
stay calm and plan on, carry on. And Ann and I are here to help you do that.
Yep.
And
Reach out
so,
at any time.
yeah, exactly. So, our encouragement is to make things happen and don't
Right.
wait, manana, 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 tomorrow, someday. There is no such thing as someday. There's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. No someday. Just make it
Yeah.
happen. Make your post it notes, make a list, make a computer list, do whatever you have to, write it down, journal it, make it
Hmm.
happen. And so, with that, I just like to say thank you for. We went a little
Yeah.
longer today than we normally do, but it was such
Yeah.
juicy information.
It
Yeah.
was.
Mhm.
It's
What can you
it.
share with people, Anne? How to get a hold of you?
Um. Well, you can check my website out, but really, you can. My LinkedIn address is right up there, and I said that's the fastest way to get a hold of me. To be honest with you, so I ask questions, be resilient in asking these questions for Bonnie and us. We're here to help.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. We love LinkedIn. I do. It's just a hub for jobs, careers, help, learning, encouragement, skills. It's all right there. It's a wonderful platform. There are many other platforms, but that happens to be my favorite. And we thank you so, so much for coming and invite someone else for next time. And I took this quote: having the talent, having the right mindset together can make you unstoppable. And I think that's the end of our little presentation today. And thank you as always. I love you as a sister, sister by another mother. I love that you help so many find their career trajectory and are on to just being happier, healthier, and wealthier just by knowing that our work is our, what would you say, Anne? Our work is our who we are. It's not just something we do, it's who we are. All of a sudden, I've lost the sound on Anne. Let's see. Nothing's.
Good time to leave.
I guess we'll just have to say goodbye, Anne. And we're going to be posting this. And please drop your information in the chat. Reach out to Anne. Reach out to myself. We're here to be your mentors, to be your guides on your career and job. Take care. Bye bye.